Morning there, peeps. The form tables are back by popular demand. A lot of people were missing them after I closed my blog down, but I brought them back anyway, and I've put them in a simpler format this season. I've just whittled them straight down to a basic score, what the computer thinks the scores are going to be, so removed all the workings and everything. Now, all the home team scores are based on just their home performances for this season, while the performances of the away teams, only their away games are taken into account, because a lot of teams do play differently home and away, so I find it helps to make it more accurate. So we're never going to find a totally 100% accurate way of working out scores, because if we could, the bookies would be broke. You know, a lot of people put millions of hours into trying to work out systems to beat the bookies, and they never manage it. So this one's not going to beat the bookies either, so don't be too surprised if the results vary from predicted ones, because they tend to do that. You know, so we're always going to do that, so I'm not going to apologise for that, peeps. You know, don't want people complaining because Man City didn't win 4-0 on the weekend, because if you've got common sense, you know that these are just an approximation. Anyway, peeps, now you've been told, we'll get on with it. Now, Man City 4, Burnley 0. Wouldn't be surprised, would you? It's about the score they've been putting these type of teams away. Only good news for Burnley is they're at the Europa League now. They've had 2 weeks to regroup, and they might start sorting themselves out, because they're a bit better than they've been showing this season, I think, aren't they? But Man City are already showing they're back to their kind of best, aren't they? So everyone's on Aguero captain nearly. You can see why. This is the predicted top score of the week, so you can see they would be. Sterling's a big talking point, isn't he, with the brace against Spain. First time he's scored for England in over 1,000 minutes, so he's going to be poised for a big one, I think. You know, he's obviously full of confidence now, and he's going to be walking on air this week. So the other one, I suppose, Mendy would be the other one to consider. There's a lot of people now moving away from expensive defenders, aren't they? So maybe he won't fit into kind of people's templates anymore. But he looks like a 6-point banker there, minimum, doesn't he? If they do score 4 goals, you can see him getting an assist or 2. So he could, you know, he could get a double-figure haul there, couldn't he? So he's worth considering, old Mendy. As for De Bruyne, I think too early. A lot of people talking about him, but you can't really risk it. I mean, he's likely to be brought back in slowly, isn't he? Slowly reintroduced. Right, Chelsea 3, Man United 1. I don't agree with this one, mainly because the computer hasn't factored in the Mourinho factor. Because they have been poor, Man United, this season, which is why the computer thinks Chelsea are going to score 3 goals. But playing, we know what they're like, don't we? So I think it's going to be closer than that. Unless Man United really have gone, then Chelsea could well get 3 goals in that case. But I suspect it's going to be closer than that. As our owners will be hoping it is 3 goals, but we should wait and see. I don't know, I'm not so sure about that. Right, Bournemouth 3, Southampton 0. That's another one where you've got the a factor the computer hasn't put in. It doesn't take into account derby matches, so normally you'd think Bournemouth 3, Southampton 0 wouldn't be beyond the realms of possibility, but I think with it being a derby match, we're going to see a lot of much more more like a cup final type game, so I think Southampton probably will score. So I'm debating whether to put Ings in at the moment or whether to keep him on the bench. It's quite a tricky one, that, because but we shall see. I think Southampton will score. I'd be surprised if it was 3-0, to be honest. I think it'd be closer than that again. I think there'll be a few goals though, so I think Wilson owners and King and Fraser owners could be quite happy at the end of the day. Right, Cardiff and Fulham. I don't think Cardiff have ever scored 2 goals yet, have they, in the Premier League, but they've never played a defence as bad as Fulham's, and Fulham's have got a better attack than Cardiff, so I think 2-2 is about fair there. I wouldn't like to pick the winner of that one, to be honest. It's difficult. So Mitrovic owners can expect some points, I think, out of this one. all those people selling him, they could come to regret it. Right, Wolves 2, Watford 0. Yeah, it's going to be tricky for teams going there, I think, especially teams like Watford. I mean, they lost 4-0 last week. Could be a reaction, I suppose, from Watford. You know, they've had 2 weeks to ponder, haven't they? So I think there could be a big reaction, but it's still going to be difficult for them because Wolves are pretty solid. You know, Doherty owners would be quite happy with 2-0, I think, wouldn't they? Be a bit disappointed with 6 points the way they've been going. We've been used to getting 15 every week, but 2-0 would be all right, wouldn't it? I suppose Patricio, a lot of people got double Wolves, that's the only thing, isn't it? Right, so Arsenal-Leicester 2-1. Yeah, I think that sounds about fair. Arsenal haven't been that great against these mid-table type of sides. They're just squeaking home. So Lacazette owners, apparently Lacazette hasn't blanked at home for about a year. Well, since like January or something. So it's, you know, they'll be expecting some more points. A lot of people wondering whether to bench Maddison or Ings. That's another thing I've seen this week. It's a tricky one. I fancy Leicester to score though. This is a bit of a shame because I've got Monreal. But I think Vardy could find the net in this one, I think. Right, Newcastle 1, Brighton 1. Yeah, can't argue with that, can you? This sort of thing. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good prediction there by the computer. Wouldn't really know who's going to win that one. Newcastle have been pretty dire, but then again, they haven't been playing Brighton at home every week, have they? So we shall see there. I think Newcastle, if they want to do anything this season, they're going to have to win that game. They really do need to win it because they're bottom of the league now, so they need to sort themselves out quick. West Ham, Tottenham. Depends which West Ham turn up, doesn't it? If good West Ham turn up, I think Tottenham are going to struggle because they've got a lot of injuries at the moment. And West Ham have been showing signs they can play when they want to. And if they choose to have a good day, I think they could turn Tottenham over. But our computer thinks Tottenham are going to win. And that's based on what's happened so far this season. So I think it'll be quite close, that one. Hopefully Kane will get on the score sheet. But he couldn't score against Spain, could he? And he couldn't score against Cardiff last week. So, but we shall see, peeps. He scores when he's not supposed to, apparently. So hopefully that's this week. Right, another draw here. Everton and Palace, 1 each. I don't know about that. I think Everton might squeak it. I think the computer was close to giving them 2-1 in this one. And I wouldn't be surprised if they do win that one. It's the Richarlison or Sigurdsson or Walcott or somebody. One of those will probably pop up with some points. It's hard to know which one, isn't it, at the moment? It was kind of all three of them are sort of sharing the points around. Not sure Richarlison going to the striker position is actually helping him in terms of his points. As for Wan-Bissaka, he's going to be firmly on our benches, I think. They've got a terrible run now, Palace, and I can see that a lot of, you know, his days of being in our teams are over now. He's going to be firmly on the bench, which is probably a good thing because the benching headaches with him were getting on my wick a bit. You know, every week you have to decide whether to put Wan-Bissaka in or not. But someone said to me yesterday, Zaha is actually does really well away from home. So if Palace do score, could be Zaha that does it. Because I see a lot of people have been selling him. And I sort of said I could understand that. But someone's told me, you know, he's good away from home. So he shouldn't be sold this week. And the final game is Huddersfield-Liverpool. Now, a lot of people saying Liverpool could put a second team out and beat Huddersfield. Well, I think that's a mistake they've made in previous seasons. You know, this is why they don't win the league. Because if they want to win the league, I think they've really got to treat every single game like a cup final. All 38 of the games. They've got to. They can't afford to start being complacent because we know what'll happen. They'll stuff it up. We've seen it so many times. And although on paper Huddersfield aren't the team to upset them, you just never know, do you? So we still don't know if Salah and Mane and all them are fit. But I think if they are fit, or anywhere like fit, they're going to play. You know, I don't see them being rested, especially with Milner out already and a couple of other people. So Huddersfield haven't scored a goal at home all season yet. We've only had 4 games, but they haven't scored yet. So I'm tempted to get Trent Arnold in this week. I'm looking at him because he's the only one I can kind of afford, really. So I'm thinking about getting him in as my free transfer. So I've got a good fixture next week as well, so it might be a good time to bring him in. But I'll wait and see on that anyway, peeps. But I think 2-0's about right, isn't it? Sort of thing you can expect. You'd be shocked if they didn't win. But you wouldn't really be expecting them to get 4 or 5 goals either. Not with the kind of injury situation and everything that they've got. So I think overall, I think these form tables look pretty realistic to me. You know, that's they pass the eye test in terms of being sensible. You know, if they spat out like Burnley beating Man City and shit like that, you'd know that they're a load of rubbish. But when you look at the scores they're predicting, you can see that it's pretty sensible. I think, you know, it's doing its job already. Because I think we haven't really got enough data for them to be super accurate yet. But I think the season is settling down now. You know, it's starting to look that way. Look, it took Wolves and that a few weeks for us to see that Wolves were actually the real deal, and a few other teams, and we're becoming increasingly clear that Bournemouth are a pretty good side as well, better than expected. Whereas Tottenham probably aren't quite all there, are they? Not at the moment anyway. But I mean, it's still going to evolve, but things are starting to settle down now, aren't they? We're getting into being November soon, so I mean, it's about time it did. Anyway, peeps, that's about it for now. I'll just transition into my ending. Here we go. Right, so I subscribe to the channel. Quite a lot of you doing that already. It's a good thing to do because I'll probably be putting some more stuff on there this week. And that's my Twitter handle. It's probably led you here anyway, didn't it, as they say on YouTube. Anyway, peeps, that's about it for now. I'll probably be doing a pod at some stage. Okay, cheers for now.